Honeybees are known as Apis mellifera, their scientific name. So Apis is a genus and mellifera is a species. So honeybees are social insects, and they have essentially 3 members in a whole colony. The first member is a queen. So she's the only fertile member, and she can lay up to 22,000 eggs per day. She lives for between 2 to 3 years, so her lifespan is 2 to 3 years. So she lives longer than the other bees, and it is essentially known that the reason why she lives longer is because when she's young, she's fed on royal jelly, and royal jelly is what makes an egg into a queen or into a Wakabe. So she lives 10 times longer than other bees, but her developmental stage from egg to pupa to larvae to adult is just 16 days. So it takes a shorter time to make a queen. Queen cells are generally downward facing. So when bees select a queen cell, they have to make downward facing cells, and they can make a couple of them, but they can only be one queen. So the first one to hatch will kill the rest or fight off the one that the new queen to the death. The next member is called the Wakabe. So Wakabes, their developmental stage from egg to adult is just 21 days, but then their lifespan is 3 months. They're the ones who make the largest population in a colony, so they can be between 20,000 to 100,000 bees in a colony. And Wakabes are every other member in the hive, and they are divided into very many. They are given different roles that help to keep the colony active. So they can be a Wakabe that's a forager whose main aim is to go and collect food, or a Wakabe that's a guard whose main aim is protect the hive. They are also, the young Wakabes also feed the young. So different Wakabes have different roles in the hive. They are infertile, although they can lay eggs, but they cannot lay fertilized eggs. So in case the queen is not available. Then there are drones. Drones are male bees whose only purpose is to mate with a virgin queen, so not the queen in the hive. So when a new queen is hatched outside, so they'll mate with a queen. And essentially when a drone mates with a queen, it dies. And then the new queen will return to her own colony and continue laying fertilized eggs. So a queen can decide whether to lay a fertilized or an unfertilized egg. So drones can, developmental stage is 24 days. They can also live 3 months. In areas where like there's snow or winter, they're usually chased away from the hive just before winter begins, because they'll not have any use for them until the next year. They can be between a couple hundred drones in a colony at a time. So some of us don't know that when the drones mate, they die. And the reason is, when the drone flies out to mate with a virgin queen, its edophalas, which is the male sexual organ, rips off from its body, and which causes the abdomen to also cut off, and it dies after mating. So drones will live for 3 months, but just after mating, they will die. And also, Wakabes die after stinging a human being. The reason is the stinger has a barbed section, and when it stings, the barbed section gets attached into your skin, and when it's trying to rip it off, it rips off from its body, causing it to die. Hence, Wakabes also die once they sting. So like I said, there's only one queen in a hive, and she only takes one flight during her lifespan. And she flies out to go and mate, and she will mate with around 40 to 50 drones who will die after the mating process. Then the virgin queen will now return to the hive, who is now no longer a virgin, and she will be able to carry eggs and sperms in her abdomen, which now becomes elongated. So the queen inside the hive will select whether she will fertilize the egg or not fertilize the egg, hence choose if she wants a Wakabe or a drone. Drones, their main purpose is only to mate with a virgin queen, and a virgin queen is not the queen in the hive, it's another queen from another hive who has just hatched. So they'll go out and mate with a virgin queen. So a queen will select to have a few hundred drones as compared to thousands of worker bees who are divided into different roles. So worker bees will be, some of them will be the ones that are foragers, so they'll go out to the flowers and get food and water and pollen. And then there'll be others who are guards, they'll protect the hive and protect the queen in case of danger. And there'll be the ones who make the honey, who are producers. And there'll also be some worker bees who feed the young, who are called feeders. So a queen needs to select if she'll make male bees who are drones, and their main purpose will be to mate with the virgin queen. So the queen outside, the main purpose for this is to ensure the continuities of other colonies, because there are virgin queens that will be hatched every day and they need to be fertilized so that they can continue with another colony out there. So a queen will choose to have a few hundred drones, and especially in places where there's winter. When the winter time is approaching, they will stop completely the production of drones and then start them over during summer, because it's a mating season. So it is important for the queen to have a few hundred drones in her hive to ensure continuity of other colonies outside there. There can only be one queen in a hive. And when the queen, after 2 to 3 years, when she starts laying a few eggs and becomes lazy, the worker bees can choose to select a new egg and produce a new queen. Or in case she dies, they can be able to continue the colony by creating new queens. And how they do this is by making queen cells, and queen cells are essentially downwards facing. And then they feed the queen cells with only royal jelly. And royal jelly is an excretion from their bodies, and it is known to be the substance that makes a queen fertile and fertile instead of being infertile. So they feed it with royal jelly, and when the queen hatches, they will make a couple number of queen cells, but only one of them can become a queen. So the first one who hatches will kill the remaining cells, and if they hatch 2 queens at the same time, they will fight to the death because they only remain 1 queen. And then that queen will take its first flight and go and mate with drones out there, and it will come back with the hive. And now its stinger will now, from this point henceforth, its stinger will be modified to be an ovipositor, which is used to deposit the eggs into the cells, so she'll no longer be able to sting. It is important to note that there are 2 types of honey producing bees. The Apis mellifera, which is the honey bee, and in Africa it's known as the African bee, and then the stingless bee, which is also known as a malipona. So stingless bees are smaller than the honey bees, and they live in gourds or small kind of hives, usually found in indigenous forests, and they produce small quantities of honey, between 3 kilos to 5 kilos per annum, as compared to the honey bee who produces 30 kilos per year.